that.
if I could have only had one of the two, let's say. But
Is that because you're more likely to be able to persuade Emma to go to Toulouse than Featherstone?
no, I mean Toulouse or Toronto, just
Oh,
because I
okay.
think we then have a market in France that's bigger. Um, it's not quite the same as the transatlantic situation, and also Toulouse play such exciting rugby and all that sort of stuff. But I would have ideally had both and had a 14-team league, but we've talked about that to death. Anyway, good luck to both sides, but I think Toronto will win.
If we're going to have a 14-team league, maybe we should have conferences. Hey.
Right, League One promotion final. So this is to replace Barrow ultimately in the Championship next year. It is resilient and consistent Oldham versus what's the word for Newcastle?
Exciting.
Yeah, they're the team looking to grow, aren't they? I suppose is
Yeah.
the way to put it. So
Well,
Oldham finished second in the league. Hopefully, they've managed to find in the last 2 weeks some way of having an elevated camera position at their ground. But they've earned that home advantage. But it's on an artificial pitch. Both teams play on artificial pitches, so there's no advantage there. And Newcastle have eased their way into this playoffs and now maybe found some form. I'm gonna go with Newcastle. Maybe just because I've seen them a little bit more. I like a couple of their young players in the outside backs. I'm going to go with Newcastle.
I'm going to go with Newcastle. Also, though, there is part of me, the statistic part of me, that wants Oldham to do it, just because it would be hilarious that Scott Naylor's leaving and he's got them promoted. That would be immense to me. He's like, yeah, fine, done the job, and I've got a lot of time for Scott. But he's done the job. He's got them promoted, and then he rides off into the sunset. That would be brilliant for me. So I'm happy either way. I would like Newcastle. I think Newcastle probably have more just in that all-round firepower. But
It's
Oldham are
like
very
Toronto.
clinical.
It's the
Oldham are
bigger.
very yeah.
It's the bigger potential.
And Oldham are very clinical, however, and so they're very good at shutting down attack. And they've got a few players that really should be a level above where they are. So yeah, it'll be an exciting game for sure.
Oldham are getting enough coverage at the moment with that guy on Strictly who all the women are having the hots for. So I think Newcastle's a bigger potential for me, looking at that bigger picture. Anyway, I wouldn't be disappointed whoever went up. I'm sure both will absolutely deserve it and be really competitive next year in the Championship. Okay, Women's Super League. It's semi-finals time. League leaders, winners, Castleford host last year's champions Wigan in the first of the two semi-finals. I can't see anything other than a Cass victory here. I think Wigan have managed to get a bit closer to these other teams in this back end of the season when it's going to be bad weather and that sort of stuff. But they're just
Limping
not the
home,
same
aren't they?
team that they were last year.
No, I think combination of things. Partly just injuries and the fact their side has been so unsettled between injuries and unavailability.
Yeah, and kind of juggling around trying to refresh the talent within the team as well. Hasn't quite worked. Whereas Cass have got everything right this year, pretty much, save the.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Challenge Cup
look
final.
at the signings that Cass made, the two big signings they made were exactly what they needed to take them to the next level. It's Claire Garner at half-back and captain, who's been absolutely immense. And I'm really surprised people aren't talking about her more. It's certainly her kicking game has been so controlling. It's been fantastic. And Rhiannon Marshall as the world's last loose forward.
Yeah, certainly they've been fantastic, Castleford, this year, so I expect that to continue. And then the other semi-final is maybe harder to pick. Two sides that are maybe a little bit more evenly matched as this season's gone along. It's St Helens, who finished second in the league, against Leeds, who of course have won the last two Challenge Cup finals. Leeds have got a lot of talent in that side, and they've got a couple of players who can really control these big matches. But what Saints have got this year that they didn't have last year is the same. They've got players who can control these big matches who are fit,
Yeah.
which they didn't necessarily have last year.
And they are missing Vicky Whitfield still, who'll be a loss for them, but their back line has been, their back row has been immense for most of the season.
Oh, certainly the back row's been fantastic. I mean, I think one of the players that they've got that was picked out for like honours and stuff, it isn't even one of the players well, looking at the team there that played last week, a couple of those players weren't actually playing, were they? Chantal Crowell and
Emily Rudge.
Yeah, Emily Rudge. Oh, Emily Rudge did play, but I just think I'm going to go Saints on this one. I think
I am. I've flipped back and forth on this one.
Yeah, me too.
I think Leeds have done very well in doing what Wigan haven't done and bringing in a new crop of players this year to boost their side. I think what they've done well is assimilating them into the group. If you look at players who are on the fringes like Elfrain and a couple of others that have been in and around and have stepped up, and Amy Staveley's really kicked on this year as well, who's sort of in and around, coming off the bench last year but is now starting. They've gone to that next level. So they've also brought in players like Abby Etok from the Army, who's done really well for them in the last handful of games. So I think they've done what Wigan haven't been able to do in terms of taking that initial group and then refreshing it.
Yeah, I just think though against Saints, some of those outside backs maybe might be a bit more error prone than the players that they've replaced through necessity this year a little bit. Some injuries, some serious injuries. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it will be Saints, but I think the future's bright for them for Leeds next year. If they keep the majority of the squad together with that extra experience, and potentially they get their best player back on the pitch.
They have got some serious experience, haven't they? And Courtney Hill is a real controlling halfback at that level that could take this game away. And then you've got the pace in the outside backs. They've got absolute rapid pace, but I think Saints maybe will control it. I'm expecting bad weather. I just think Saints have got more heads around that that can control the tempo of that sort of a game. Okay. But what do I know? I've barely seen Leeds this year. Leeds women's side this year. I only saw them in the game against Saints that they won, and the Challenge Cup final that they won. So why am I not picking them to win? NRL Grand Final. It is the Roosters, who briefly had Ryan Hall as one of their men on the field, but haven't of late, versus the Raiders, who definitely will have Englishmen on deck. That is Sunday at 9:30, it says, but I'm sure it'll be about 10:15 by the time they've finished with the formalities and light shows and anthems. But
retiring players, you got to love the retiring players on a pickup truck.
But
always my favourite bit of the grand final.
I'm backing the Raiders.
Call him Mr. Raider. It's for me.
So far, I've gone with what I want to happen more than what I think will happen, other than Castleford against Wigan in the women's semi-finals, because I'm not stupid. I might be optimistic, but I'm not stupid. And in this one, I'm going to go back to the optimism and say Raiders to win. Raiders by 10.
Yeah, I'm going to say Raiders by 8. But yeah, I think it's going to be capping off a good season for the Fab Four.
Yeah, a great season anyway to get to this stage.
Yeah.
So, well done to those guys. I will be wearing my Raiders jersey, backing those boys, and singing "Ain't Nobody Like John Bateman" all morning on Sunday. I can guarantee that. Okay, anyone who watches any of those games, they're all going to be on the Google form to throw in your views. And I'm aware that the community game as well is reaching its crescendo. So
NCL finals at Featherstone.
There'll be lots of other games for you to get your fan views in. If you go and check out those as well, click the other option and throw in those views on any of those games. But yeah, all those main games that we've just predicted will be, or guessed at, will be on the Google form for your fan views on next week's games. Okay, we're now just going to finish with a little bit of a quiz and meander towards the end of what has been a fantastic horrible. I had to relive all of that Saints stuff. But episode 241,
Yeah.
Okay, wrap up time. SLP quiz this week. As we are getting another English invasion on the NRL Grand Final next week, I'm using this as the background for this week's quiz. You maybe have been able to predict this one and done some research, who knows, but we're looking at NRL Grand Finals. We're looking only at the NRL Grand Finals, actually, so we're talking since 1998 onwards here, English players playing in NRL Grand Finals. So I've got 3 questions for you.
Moriarty's gone as an answer then.
Sorry?
Oh, wrong sport.
Right, so question 1. Which Englishman has appeared in the most NRL Grand Finals so far with 3?
Between 2? Is it 1 or 11? I'm going to go Slamming Sam.
No, Sam Burgess has only played in 1, I think.
Gosh. James Graham then?
No.
Morley?
Adrian Morley.
Yeah.
Played in the 2002, 2003 and 2004 Grand Finals, all with the Roosters, started all of those games. So, yeah, it's Adrian Morley. Question 2. Who was the first Englishman to appear in an NRL Grand Final? And a bonus point for naming the team that he played for and the year that he appeared in the Grand Final in.
So it's since 1998?
Yes.
Who was... No, you see, it's too late for any of them. Oh.
If you get this one, I'll be fairly impressed. Someone out there's got it, though.
No idea.
It's Harvey Howard.
I've never heard of him.
Right, okay. Well, he... Back in the day, I think was Bradford forward, but he had a few spells with a few different clubs in the Australian leagues. But in the NRL, he played in the 2000 Grand Final for the Brisbane Broncos against the Sydney Roosters. He actually was not only the first Englishman to play in an NRL Grand Final, he was the first one to win one. So yeah, Harvey Howard, who then came back and played, I think, a year or 2 at Wigan before hanging up his boots in his mid-30s. Okay, final question then. In total, there have been 7 NRL Grand Finals that have had Englishmen appear in them. Okay, 2 of those games actually have had our players on both sides of the final. But in those 7 Grand Finals, how many different Englishmen have played in NRL Grand Finals? So I want a number from you, and then you can have a bonus point if you name them all. We've given you the one that you definitely never heard of, so that's a good start.
Seven?
It's 8.
Ah.
I think I know the one that you'll have forgot, but do you want to run us through the names that you think that you had as your 7?
So this Howard Hughes,
Harvey Howard, yeah.
Slam and Sam,
Yeah.
2 more Burgeye,
Yeah.
but I'm now thinking a 4th as well. James Graham.
Yep.
Widdop.
Yep.
Morley.
Yep.
And I'm not sure.
No, I thought you'd fall at this one. It's a player who never played in Super League, prematurely had to retire.
Jack Reed?
Jack Reed, yeah. Jack Reed. You've made me question myself now, but I don't think Luke Burgess did play in the Grand Final in 2000 and 30.